Hey YouTube, this is Steve from Average Joe's Fantasy Football. We've got your Week 12 start and sit video for your running back position. If you guys haven't already, make sure you guys check out our start and sit video for the quarterback position. And of course, smash that subscribe button. That way you guys are notified every time we drop another start and sit video to get you guys prepared for Thanksgiving, of course, Black Friday. And then obviously we've got a slate of games on Sunday and Monday night. Now, these are your obvious starts at running back position. I've got a couple players that haven't always been on here that I added in here because I like their matchups or they have done a really good job as of the last probably 2 to 3 weeks. So again, these are your obvious starts. Now, the first running back I'm going to mention as a good start is going to be Tony Pollard versus the Commanders. Pollard has finally had a good game. He had a great game last week, putting up 18 fantasy points. He had a nice rushing touchdown, which the last time he scored a touchdown was the beginning of the season. So he definitely has been in a lot of folks' doghouses, right? Like a lot of people probably started him every single week, got disappointed, and probably ended up benching him last week. Who knows? But he was able to put up the points that for all of those who have been patient with him, they finally got to, really see that happening. This is a great matchup here because right now the Commanders are allowing 16.3 points a game, 86 yards on the ground. It's a great Thanksgiving game between the two rival teams. And again, if this game plays the way I think it should, Pollard should start off really strong and finish the game really strong as well. I like him a lot this week. Another running back I like this week is going to be Ramondre Stevenson versus the Giants. Ramondre has definitely got to get going for this Patriots offense if they have any type of success of trying to win any games. This offense definitely runs through Ramondre. He's a great PPR back. He's a good running back, and he can get you to the end zone. Now, one thing that the Patriots have been doing is using Ezekiel Elliott in the red zone, so that sometimes gives me some hesitation with Ramondre, but he's done a great job. Giants are injury riddled. Like they are just devastated right now with injuries, and right now allowing 17.4 points a game and a touchdown per game as well. And they just gave up a huge game to Brian Robinson. And this is going to be a game where, again, Ramondre, if Patriots kind of get up, we'll see. This is going to be a lot closer game because the Patriots aren't that good offensively. I think this is going to be a game where Ramondre gets you about 5 to 6 receptions, probably 80 yards on the ground and a touchdown. So I like him a lot this week. Another running back I like is going to be Devin Singletary versus the Jaguars. At this point, Singletary has pretty much taken over that RB1 spot. Now, Pierce has been out the last few games, so that's why he easily has taken that number 1 spot. There's a chance Pierce does play, and if he does, I do think Pierce does get some touches, but I don't think he's going to be the starting back going into this matchup. Now, Jaguars are actually pretty tough against the run. They're holding running backs to 61 yards a game. But where I will give some credit as far as the running back aspect and why I like Singletary is because Jaguars are allowing 6 receptions per game to the running back position. So one thing they're going to have to do is obviously get the ball to Singletary, whether it be screens, short passes, and of course allowing him to still try to run against a really stout run defense in the Jaguars. Jaguars should be up big. I do think it's going to be a game that they should be up. Stroud's going to have to put up his MVP-like magic again to try to keep up. And of course, with that said, Singletary should have about 4 to 5 receptions, 30 to 40 yards, and probably about 50 yards on the ground. I think he'll get you that 12 to 13 point range as a nice flex play this week. Now, another running back I like is going to be Derrick Henry versus the Panthers. Henry has struggled a lot lately, right? Like, just be honest. With the fact that Will Levis is their rookie quarterback, everyone is going to put their focal point on stopping Derrick Henry, and of course Spears as well, who alleviates him in some downs. Henry's got a great matchup against the Panthers. Panthers just allowed Pollard, who has struggled, again, just as much, to actually have a decent 18-point fantasy game. Panthers are allowing 114 yards of the ground, 19.5 points to running backs. Derrick Henry should have a nice turnaround and have a great game this week. Now, running backs I'm going to sit. First one's going to be Breece Hall versus the Dolphins. Dolphins have been great against the run. They're holding running backs to 11 points a game, which has been fantastic. I know the Dolphins aren't known for their defense, but they've done a really good job stopping the run. On top of that, Breece is clearly the focal point for this Jets team, who now benched Zach Wilson, who is now the third string, which is crazy, and Boyle is their starting quarterback at the moment. So, of course, Dolphins are going to put their full focus on stopping Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, putting all the focus on seeing if Boyle can actually have a good game, right? Having Ramsey back covering Garrett Wilson is going to be huge. Again, Breece is going to have a really tough time. Unless he gets some receptions in this game, I don't see a lot of points out of him. Another running back is James Cook. He's going against the Eagles. Eagles are a really good run defense. They're only allowing 59 yards on the ground. And the last 4 games alone have only allowed 8.8 points in fantasy. Cook not only is not been very effective. He had a great game last week, but he still has Murray to compete with. Fournette, we haven't really seen at all, even though he was signed to the team. So if they're behind, or again, if they're struggling, Cook is not only going to have a bad game, but also you got Murray, who hasn't been playing well, for anybody who's maybe stretching and putting him in their lineup based off injuries. So both running backs, I'm definitely sitting. James Cook, I am definitely sitting. Another running back I'm sitting this week is going to be Jerome Ford versus the Broncos. Oh, man. Denver has really turned it around. Like, let's give them credit for what they have been able to do. They started really bad at the beginning of the season, having a losing streak. They were giving up a huge amount of points, allowing 25.6 points to running backs. But then the defense turned it around. And on their nice little win streak, they're only allowing 15 points a game, which isn't bad, but they've only allowed one touchdown in that 4-game win streak against a running back. So with that said, DTR obviously is going to be a focal point that the defense is going to put pressure on, allowing, again, the big focus of stopping Ford and Hunt and seeing if DTR can put this team on the back to see if the Browns can win. I think not. I think Broncos get a nice little win against this team, and I think Jerome Ford struggles. Now, the last running back I'm going to say is going to be Bijan Robinson versus the Saints. Look, at this point, Atlanta went back to Ritter. That's not great. Arthur Smith is still the head coach. That's not great. And unfortunately, Bijan Robinson is not going to get the touches and opportunities he should have with the talent that he has. So, not only is that a concern, but the Saints are pretty good against the run. They're only allowing 11.1 points a game to running backs. And the fact that they should be up in this game is going to kind of negate Bijan unless he gets a couple of receptions. That's the only way he's going to have any type of resemblance of a decent fantasy matchup. I'm going to sit Bijan if I can. Now, the running back I actually believe is a good sleeper this week is going to be Brian Robinson versus the Cowboys. I get it. Cowboys have a good defense. They've been pretty good against most of the run and the pass. They're holding running backs to 74 yards a game. But this is going to be a matchup where I just feel like as a Cowboy fan my whole life, I know how these games play on Thanksgiving. There's something about this that the Commanders just always put up their best possible game. This would be a game that could surprise the Cowboys and give them a loss. Now, I'm hoping this is not the same Cowboys of years past. But with that said, the Cowboys did allow Chuba Hubbard to have some big gains on the ground last week. They were gashing them. Now, with a team that has a really high, powerful pass rushing defensive line, unfortunately, with that, they're going to allow some big runs. Brian Robinson's been pretty good the last few games. He's averaged over 20 points the last 2 games. And if anybody's going to have a tear against this Dallas defense, I think it's going to be him. I have him a nice little sleeper this week. So those are my start, sits, and sleepers for week 12 for the running back position. Again, if you haven't already, check out our start and sit for the quarterback position. Again, we have games on Thursday, we have game on Friday, games on Sunday, and of course Monday night. So again, make sure your lineups are ready, prepared for injuries. If you guys have questions for your lineups, hit us up in the comments down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget the like button, and I'll check you guys out next time.